Hey everybody, it's Fox with FoxeoGames, and this is a Fox First Scent of Prey for the PC. Well, let's get to the PC port aspect of it, and I'm happy to report that it is an excellent PC port. It performs magnificently on my GTX 1080 with an Intel Core i7 and 32 gigs of RAM, although that's definitely overkill on the RAM. I run at 144 frames per second. I have a 144 Hz monitor with G-Sync enabled from NVIDIA. And given that, I can say that it performs really well with G-Sync, works great, and it runs at 144 or relatively close to it a good amount of the time, even when you can see we're out here in the space portion where you're outside of the Talos 1 station, which is a really cool, really fun aspect of the game. I'm just kind of a sucker for games that take place in space, or at least use space as the background, even if it's a JRPG like Xenogears, where you were never really in space, but that was kind of in the background of the story. Here, of course, it's a big aspect to the game. You're on a space station. That's a minor spoiler, but again, you find that out within minutes of starting the game, so no big deal there. Prey has been compared to the BioShock series and the Half-Life series, and I have to say that I thought comparing it to Half-Life wouldn't be fair, but you know what? Actually, I think it is fair. If they had released this game as Half-Life 3, if Valve had released it as Half-Life 3 with a Half-Life theme and coat of paint over it, I think people would have said, hey, you know, this is a good game. I don't think anything can ever live up to the hype of Half-Life 3, no matter what. I think that's why Valve isn't probably ever going to release it. I mean, it's a meme at this point that Half-Life 3 is coming out. It's out there. It's around the corner. But it'll never live up to the hype. But Prey, on the other hand, I think, had it been released as Half-Life 3, would have done pretty well. It's of the quality you would expect from even a game or a series like BioShock. I have to say that so far, I'm enjoying it far more than I did the original BioShock, and I think, yeah, far more than any of the 3 BioShock entries. Right here, I'm not doing the greatest at combat. Essentially, you're supposed to play this game as a sort of, I don't know how to describe it. Basically, you don't go in guns blazing. You're supposed to use the weapons and everything that you have as sort of tools to get around obstacles. You don't have to fight everything, although I found it beneficial to do so because you can loot their corpses and get lots of goodies off of them. You can loot lots of stuff in the game, including junk like banana peels and old food and crumpled up paper, and then use the recycler in the game to turn them into base materials, which you can later use to create items, which is super useful. So in that regard, I really like the fact that they did that, because now junk in the game is useful. If you find a pistol, but you've already got a pistol and you've even upgraded the pistol you find will be the base rate pistol, and so it's essentially useless, right? So in most games, you would find that pistol and then just drop it. It's useless. In this game, weapons don't degrade. You don't need the weapon for anything, but you can either break it down into its core components or recycle it for materials and then use those materials later. So that's really cool. As for the combat, let's get back to that. One of the big things they pushed in this game, which I didn't find to be as cool, you can see it right now, is the goo gun. You essentially shoot out this sort of foam. The best way I can describe it is if you've ever used that, like a spray caulking or spray foam that you use to seal stuff up. You spray it out, it kind of starts as a liquid, it bubbles out, and then it kind of hardens into this like hard like styrofoam or some sort of material like that. It's kind of like that, and you can use that to jump or climb platforms. You can use that to slow down and immobilize enemies. You can use it to close up and seal off leaks and valves and all sorts of stuff. So it's more of a tool than it is a weapon, but you can use it as a weapon to slow down enemies. And in that regard, that's really what you're supposed to do. Here you'll see some hacking in the background footage there. I think the hacking minigame in this game is pretty much garbage. I mean, you'll see I'm bumping off of this stuff. That's really the challenge, is to get from one point to the next with this little cursor. You have to control it with, on the PC, it's the keys, but you'd probably use an analog stick if you're using the gamepad. I haven't tried the gamepad, but I can tell you that you just don't have the accuracy you need to avoid bumping into crap. So I'm constantly bumping into stuff. Don't like the hacking. But as for the combat, I do like it. I do like the fact that even on basic difficulty, normal difficulty is very challenging. This is one of the phantom enemies that you see quite a lot of in the game. They are fun to fight. You can use sneaking. You can go in guns blazing if you've buffed yourself up. Your suit's at full potential and you got enough health. You can upgrade your health. You can upgrade your suit with suit chips. There are all sorts of ways to modify your character and upgrade. And so in that regard, it does have some, quote, RPG elements, unquote, if you consider upgrading to be RPG-ish. The story so far is interesting. I like it. I like the setting. I like the design of a lot of the areas. Although I will say that some areas of the game appear so cluttered, it's hard for me to tell what's what, and I actually pass up items because I don't really notice them. It's hard to notice everything in this game because there's so much going on and flashing and all that. But I can say for sure that I will be finishing the game and I will be doing a full review. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I've been playing it a lot and exploring. Having a lot of fun with Prey. Have you played Prey, and if so, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames, and I will see you guys next time.